Here is the second assignment, and this specific assignment is targeting English as a second language learners, and the instructions differ. The fact that they allow an interpreter for this particular assignment to aid the student if he needs any translation help, and the student has the extra opportunity to enhance his listening and comprehension skills for English, in addition to answering some questions about each speech. While the student is listening to the speech, I would like them to translate everything that they can, first without the aid of the interpreter, and then if they need to go back and do it again with the interpreter, that is okay. And then after they translate everything they can into Spanish, they should translate it back into English without the help of the text on the computer, if possible. Again, here are the links to each individual speech. And again, here are some of the questions that this particular student should be answering. Some of the level of complexity of the questions has increased, as well as the number, such as what are the speaker's major points that he's trying to make, and puts in a personal reaction as well. Do you think he made his points well? How do you feel about the speech? And do you see any connections between the speeches? Just some additional questions to promote higher level thinking for this particular student. Again, you should account for additional time for this student because of the translation. And so please accommodate the student for that particular thing. And while you are grading this student's particular assignment, I would focus on things such as how much of the speech were they able to translate from listening without the help of the interpreter. I wouldn't put a high value on that, but just put some value in it. And then of course how much of it they were able to translate it back into English correctly. As far as the regular activity, I would evaluate the accuracy of the information they provide to each question, how well they answer each question, how much of the activity to complete, and how thoughtful their responses are to each question. Basically, do they provide any unique ideas or perspective? They might provide something totally new that because of a language barrier, they might see something in Spanish that we might not see in English, and that could provide a totally different perspective on the matter. And that's the activity for the ESL student. Moving on, we are now going to the assignment for the gifted student. And basically what defines this assignment as being the ultimate in complexity is the number of questions, and they are highly complex. Some of the questions are very basic, but there are a number of questions that are of high complexity, such as the speaker's tone, and the speaker's sentiment. You have to read in certain items there, and they have to be able to identify the primary purpose of the speech. Does it give a call to action? And the real thing that makes the gifted student work harder is what are the political, military, and economic implications of the speech? Of course, the answer to that question will vary depending upon the speech, and one of the speeches, King George VI speech, will not have any implications of those. And of course, can you make any connections between the three speeches? This is where the most thought should be put into, I think, because you should get a very long thought out response to this question, and just some of the guidelines I would take in with me as I was viewing this, as I was grading this student's activity would be what are the unique ideas and insights that they provide to each individual question. Of course, you want to grade the accuracy of the basic accuracy of the information that they provide, but most of the responses should be out of the box and answers that you should not get from other students, you will get from this particular student. I mean, just take those basic thoughts in with you as you're grading this assignment. And now let's move on to the next type of assignment that is in the Learning Center, and that is the kinesthetic learner and students with dyslexia. This activity is going to be very different from the others. The instructions say they are to perform a skit, or they can also give an actual speech that includes the following information, such as who is the speaker and what is the date of the speech, who is his audience, what are the speaker's main points, what is the intended effect of the speech on the audience, and what are your feelings and reactions to the speech. The students here pretty much get free reign on what they create as far as skit, as long as they incorporate this very basic information. As the teacher would be satisfied, and in their skits they should be dressed appropriately, at least business casual for me personally, and just also grade their level of enthusiasm. Of course, accuracy of information, and do they include all the information. And if they're giving a speech, it should be basically a summary of what the original speeches were, plus they get to add their own material to answer these specific questions and anything more they want to add. This is a special bonus to the dyslexia people in your classroom, because they get to hear the audio that they don't have to read if they don't want to, and they get unlimited creativity while they are completing this assignment. The next type of student that I decided to specifically target are the students that are musically intelligent. Those students get a special treat. Again, they will view the 3 speeches by the people, and then they will write a song for each speech that answers at least these following questions. Again, these are very basic questions that need to be, whose information needs to be conveyed to every student. This is the very basic information that should be learned. Who is the speaker, who is the audience, etc. And when I am grading these assignments, I would basically look at originality of the lyrics. Sure, there are going to be some things that are going to be the same throughout, but let's look for some originality. And also, of course, if they want to perform the song in front of the class, that can also be extra credit if you want. Look at their level of enthusiasm, and because they're writing a song, what unique ideas and perspective does that type of activity bring that another activity can't bring? I mean, you get some possibilities by having this assignment in your arsenal that you can't get with just a basic test of knowledge. And that was the last type of student that I decided to target with my assignments. And again, that's 5 type of individual assignments that you can possibly use to target the specific groups in your classroom. I chose those 5, but you might have a different type of student makeup in your classroom. So use whatever you need while you're evaluating those students, and if you want to use those activities, that is alright by me. And let's move on to the group activity. This should be done at the end of the Learning Center when everybody in the classroom has completed their individual assignments. And basically you should split the classroom into groups. Don't let the students pick. Select the groups yourself based on whatever parameters you need to get the groups balanced. And the things that make this activity different is that you basically want to guide them in a discussion of the ideas being presented in each of the speeches. And you want one of the students in each group that you make to be a designated writer, for him or her to write down everything that is being discussed. That student will want to put the name of every student in the group and then write some remarks about what that student said or what that student contributed to the group discussion. And these questions are just guiding questions. I am not adverse to seeing students lead discussion themselves as long as they stay on topic. But these are just some guiding questions, such as what did you learn from the speeches? Why do you think the speeches are important? Do you think how you felt when you heard or read this speech was how people of the time felt about the speech when they heard it? What was your favorite line of the speech? And again, just have whoever the writer is for the group, just write down everything as much as possible that each student says and put their name by their ideas, because that's how you're basically going to grade them on the group assignment. You should use parameters such as how informative was the discussion, was the information being shared reliable, was it accurate, did students learn something new from the group discussion that they didn't learn out of their individual assignments. Of course, the level of participation should be taken into consideration too. That can be seen through both you walking by the groups and seeing who is participating, and by the writer just writing down who is participating and what they're saying and their individual ideas, the uniqueness of their ideas. And basically that can go on as long as it needs to, and that's an activity that you can end whenever you want, but it should be the last activity, because I personally believe that is where most of the learning is going to occur. It's one thing to do an assignment by yourself and to see what you think of it, but when you do a group activity, you get multiple perspectives on the same assignment, and so the way one person sees it is totally different than how another person sees it. So students get more benefit out of this assignment, in my opinion, than anything else.